Shabbat Shalom. It feels like we got little pockets here, which is very nice. Everyone kind of settled into their family pocket, which is really sweet. But it also means you're not next to each other. And so I hope that you'll kind of extend out and reach out to the person kind of near you. That's make sure you, let's connect the dots here. Let's take a nice deep breath for Shabbat, bringing in all the holiness from the week, and we'll breathe out all the yuckiness. So take a moment, breathe in. Raise your hand if you have been getting ready for Passover. Raise your hand if you are exhausted getting ready for Passover. Raise your hand if you have been to Wegmans way too many times.
Rabbi, I can't find my Seder plates.
Oh, no.
I've been ripping the whole house apart. It's a mess. I cleaned up, and now the whole place is a mess again.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's amazing. You have to go. We have to kind of reinvent it every year, and it's a wonderful project and so very difficult. Before I bring Bruce up, I wanted to read a little reflection. I got to spend some time with the Niagara Falls community. They have moved their Martin Luther King service to April because January and February are not always the most hospitable. So I got to go there, and it was so spectacular, the early evening sun. So I wanted to write a poem kind of reflecting on the beauty. If you notice when you go out, all around the area, you'll see I guess it's the maple trees stretching out with their beautiful new blossoms. And they seem to be stretching. I'm not sure to where, but it's just it's so beautiful, it just takes your breath away. This is called Spring Fever. If you ever have a chance, watch the lazy maple stretch its buds in early spring, tendrils reaching outstretched fingers toward the heavens, just as the early evening light blossoms overhead. A gorgeous mixture of reds and oranges and yellows, like the opening of a gentle tulip freshly cut. The whole tree in flames like a burning bush. Sit there momentarily before heading on your way, and if you can, thank God not for everything, just for this small, joyous moment on the path towards something so much more. I'd like to bring up Bruce to officially welcome you in.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. And welcome to the last night of eating bread and cake for a week. I hope Joanne did well with tonight's onig, because next week if we're lucky, it's macaroons and matzah. Before we get into the service, can I kvel just a little? Sure. First of all, Rabbi Alex and Joe and Janine this week were honored by the Network of Religious Communities, which is a big deal. They were honored for their service to the community and for everything that you've done for all these years. So this was a good week for our temple. But theirs pales in comparison. No offense to you guys, but theirs kind of pales in comparison to Jonathan Sapphire. Because on Monday night, the Florida Gators won the college basketball championship, and Jonathan is on their coaching staff. So a member of our temple family is a champion of college basketball. Someone who stood right here for his bar mitzvah is the NCAA. I mean, how cool is that? A Jewish kid from Buffalo goes on to become, anyway. So, and yeah, it was a great game and a wild finish. So anyway, David and Diane, if you're watching on the stream, mazel tov to you guys, because of course you did all the work. And it's really cool that we have that connection. So, but again, your award is a big deal as well. It really is, and it's reflective of all that you've done, and how fitting that Joe should be honored in April, which is Earth Month here at Temple. And we've got the big Earth Day celebration coming up later in the month, and we have speakers tonight and 2 other nights during the month. So all this month, it is Earth Month here at Congregation Shir Shalom, as we protect our planet and pay tribute to our planet. And again, congratulations to you. So I'll shut up now and let you guys begin with the service. And again, we'll have, cakes and brownies and cookies and normal desserts for the Oneg. So as long as Joanne did it justice.
So tonight we are going to have a mixture, Cantor tells me, between Earth Day and also Passover. So we're going to kind of get ready for our Seders. This Shabbat right before, especially when Passover is Sunday night, is probably the most challenging way it could be. Because let's say you're in the Orthodox world, your homes are completely ready for Passover. You have to have all the plastic down, but you still have to eat bread. So you're kind of in this mixture. And you have to get ready a whole day beforehand. So I saw a lot of posting on Facebook. A lot of Passover Seders, they're all set, they're all ready, which is wonderful, like a day before. Yeah. So we're going to begin with a traditional, Cantor, if you wanted to share about your getting ready for the Seder?
Well, this is a big deal for me because I have people coming from my old neighborhood. We talked about this 10 years ago. We said, we should keep getting together and come, you guys should come to Buffalo. And of course, it took like 9 years for us to actually get to the point and do this. So
I love that.
Yeah, it's really sweet. So yeah.
That's great.
And they took an Airbnb and everything, so it's nice.
You're bringing more business to Buffalo. We have Avadim Hayinu, so our prayer about slaves in Egypt on page 665.
The Hebrew is the Hebrew. It's all in order. But the English is a little turned around to fit to the song. So instead of saying we were slaves, we're going to say slaves were we. Backwards I speak, right? And but now we are free, we are free. So, Avadim Hayinu. Avadim Hayinu Hayinu Ata b'nei chorim b'nei chorim Avadim Hayinu Ata b'nei chorim Avadim Hayinu Ata b'nei chorim b'nei chorim Slaves were we, but now we are free, we are free. Slaves were we, but now we are free. Slaves were we, but now we are free. Avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorim, b'nei chorim. Avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorim. Avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorim, b'nei chorim. This is a good song for you to sing at your Seder. It comes up in almost every Haggadah during the telling of the tale of the crossing of the Sea of Reeds.
But there's always that fake one where you want to sing Avadim Hayinu.
Yeah, and it's like
but
a
it's
whole
a different
paragraph of
text
whatever. But then eventually it comes up.
I love this word avadim, which is the word that's translated as slaves here. Hebrew is a wonderful word where you have a root, and that root kind of becomes the word itself, and you can take the root in a lot of different directions. So avadim actually basically means workers. Eved is a worker. And what is a slave? Someone whose entire identity is work. It's such an interesting thing in Hebrew that way. And you also have, unbelievably, right below it, they have let my people go, which is actually not in the Reform Haggadah, which is what we found out. All right, we're going to turn to page 120 as we light our candles for Shabbat. Tomorrow we'll be lighting them for Passover. Why don't we have the whole first row, anyone who wants to join us, this raucous first row here.
Rabbi, we finally got people to sit in the first row, and now they're going to be afraid to.
Oh, no, no, if you sit in the front row, you like to volunteer. That's sort of.
That's true.
And let's see, it would be happier if we actually gave you some. Here, let's try these. Who would like to do Anyone like to do it?
I'll try lighting the candles.
Do it.
Okay, but you have to talk.
Don't worry about it, I'm great at that.
Hopefully these are a good box.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Let these candles light our way through Shabbat, and let's turn to page 123 as we'll sanctify the day of Shabbat. If someone wants to lift our Kiddush cup.
Is someone gonna drink it when it's time?
We can, so.
Neither do I.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei b'riat ha'afel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho v'achava v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maseh b'reishit kihu yom tefillah l'mikra'e kodesh zeker l'siyat Mitzrayim kivanu v'chata v'yatanu kiddusha mikohamim v'shabbat koshecha
L'chaim. Not too bad. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, and thank you for being voluntold and doing such a beautiful job.
It's an honor, thank you.
Rabbi Tannenbaum, years back, when he was here in Buffalo, he used to joke that what you should do is you put the front row out, you let people sit down, and then you take away the front row. And then the second row is the ones that's sitting there. But we have people that they like to sit
Yes,
over
we
here.
do now.
These are your little groupies. They're next to you.
Yeah, we are.
Now you're going to really chase them away.
All right, we're going to welcome in Shabbat on page 138 and 139 with Lecha Dodi, where we sing out to Shabbat, the bride. We're going to sing the first, second, fifth, and ninth verses. On the ninth verse, we rise and we face the doorway as we welcome the Shabbat bride into the room. We are going to welcome her, we'll bow to her, and then we welcome one another by waving. So again, we're doing 1, 2, 5, and 9. page 138 and 139. Welcome one another. We remain standing for our call of community, page 146. Look around at our gorgeous congregation here tonight. Each and every one of you helps us make our sacred quorum. Let's turn to page 148, and we'll read together in the Hebrew. There is transliteration on the left-hand side. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro mariv aravim, b'chokhmah potech sharim, ub'tfuna mishanech itim umachlif et azmanim, umisader et hakokavim b'mishmarateim berkia kirtzono, Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshek, v'choshek mipnei or, umavir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uben layla, Adonai Svaot Shamo, El Chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Haravim. And remain standing for the Shema, page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated. We continue with the words from Deuteronomy on page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מילותיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך ובביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך ושבתם מאוד הידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We continue on page 157, and let's read together that top reading about how we understand the Exodus today. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands,
and
marching together. We take on that spirit on page 158 with that song from the Song of the Sea, Mi Chamocha.
So we're going to do the Mikamocha tonight to the what is called the leitmotif of Passover, which is the gorgeous melody to Adir Hu, God of Might, right? So we're going to be singing Mikamocha tonight, and we're warming up the organ because Sean is also a fabulous organist. So I thought, whatever, for the classic hymn Adir Hu, God of Might, which we're doing to Mikamocha, why not hear the organ tonight?
Wonderful, thank you. And Cantor, thank you for bringing back the organ. I know there's a couple of people here that are very, very happy about it. I love that song, "Ah Dear Who," too. It's at the end, and it has it's an acrostic praising of God. And it's one of those rare songs that the melody is actually so much more important than the words of the song. It's so
Absolutely.
beloved.
We'll be doing it next week also, and singing "Ah Dear Who" together next week.
So let's rise on page 163. And we'll read together at the bottom there. A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity
utters the day.
We continue with our own private prayers, starting on 164 till page 180. Take this time for your own thoughts and prayers, and whenever you're ready, you may be seated. We're going to turn now in our leaflet. There is a extra insert, and this is one of the beautiful songs that Cantor has brought to our community over the years. And I see you got your ukulele. Wonderful. "God's Counting on Me." So you'll see it there by Pete Seeger. I think a lot of you are familiar with it.
There's a lot of verses to this. We're just singing 5, but there's at least another 3 that comes along with it.
A lot of those 1960s songs.
When we look and we see things are not what they should be, God's counting on me. God's counting on you. When we look and we see things are not what they should be, God's
You got a medley going. I love it. So if you look on your other side, Juliana perfectly put this together, because it is, we have a biography of a wonderful speaker, Dr. Shannon Seneca. We're so blessed to have it. We're going to have Joe Morris, who put together our program, and do a little introduction. And I'm really looking forward myself to hearing her wisdom. So we'll let Joe come up here. He's had a busy week, because last night we pulled an all-nighter over at the Grapevine Theater. Yeah, Shannon, we can have, and your kids can come sit up here too. This is their first time at a Jewish service, so welcome.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thanks for bearing with me as I clumped up here with my walking boot. Recently, a PA saw the boot and asked me, what did I do to my foot? I told him that I was telling people that I tore my Achilles tendon on a touchdown run at the Super Bowl. He asked me what really happened, and I told him, I don't know, but just one day I woke up and it hurt like a word I can't use in temple. One day it was suddenly red and swollen. So he said, you better stick with the football story. So thank you for all coming here tonight. Thank you, Rabbi, for this opportunity. I never expected 3 nights of speakers. And thank you, Joanne, for being the glue that holds this whole thing together. And thank you, Cantor, Todd, and the Tikkun Olam Committee for your support. For this year's theme, I chose biodiversity because of its importance to our planet's well-being, but also because it's been overshadowed with all the attention paid to climate change. Biodiversity refers to all life on this planet in all forms and the processes and forces required to maintain it. Why is biodiversity so important? Well, scientists are predicting that in the next few decades, 1 million or more species on Earth will go extinct. And in the next 2 centuries, 70% of all American mammals, not including humans, will disappear. This is not the world I want to leave my descendants, who might not have the opportunity to hear the lilting melodies of songbirds, or to see eagles soaring majestically, or to watch dolphins playfully skip through the sea, or to enjoy the sounds and sights of a living forest. Those of you who read my column know that a couple years ago, I discovered the Lakota Sioux adage, "Mitikayi o Yusin," excuse me for mangling that, which is translated as "we are all related," referring to peoples, animals, plants, rivers, lakes, mountains. Everything is connected, everything is related. And that viewpoint related very well with my own view of the Earth as a system. And so it piqued my interest in Native American views on ecology and biodiversity. But also, for us as Jews, we have our own terms. Tikkun Olam, which literally means repairing the world. And the Earth really needs some repairing, I'll tell you that. And we have Lador Vador, the handing down of traditions and knowledge from generation to generation, while acknowledging the efforts of our ancestors. In other words, pay it forward. Mitakaye o Yasin, Tikkun Olam, and Lador Vador all work together as the correlating views of our responsibility to the Earth and to its life. In other words, biodiversity. The scientific world is finally recognizing the wealth of information that indigenous people have gathered and its value over maybe millennia or at least centuries, even if it isn't written in formal technical papers. I decided my first speaker in our series should be a Native American. After all, they've been dealing with the idea of interrelated ecology and biodiversity a lot longer than scientists have. So tonight our speaker is Dr. Shannon Seneca, PhD, a Six Nations Mohawk of the Turtle Clan, and an assistant professor of Indigenous Studies at UB. Her complete bio is in the pamphlet. She served as the Seneca Nation Health System's Environmental Health Director, and she also worked with the Center for Indigenous Cancer Research at Roswell Park. As an indigenous environmental engineer, she brings a divergent viewpoint due to her indigenous background and her background in engineering to addressing environmental health issues. Tonight, she's bringing us her experiences in dealing with the scientific community, in working to preserve the environment for her people and native views of biodiversity. Dr. Shannon Seneca.
I normally stand on it too. It's up to you. Would you rather? It's just sometimes I think the people lower, they can't hear. They can't see them. You can go up with your mom if you want. I love it.
Sego Scanagoa. Hello, I wish you well. My name is Shannon Seneca, and when we say Scanagoa, when we're wishing you well, we're not just saying that you're well and that you're here. It's really about that you're well throughout. So what does wellness for us mean, Ruby?
Wellness for us means good mind, good body, and good spirit.
Yes, so that we are, our whole sense of being is connected. And so that I'm wishing you well all the way deep within your spirit and in your mind, that you have inner peace. And, okay. And so one of the things that we've just recently done is actually talked a lot about our creation story. And I just wanted to briefly mention us as women. We are Haudenosaunee, and we're Mohawk Turtle Clan. But women, for the Haudenosaunee, we're actually like the original storytellers, the ones that had carried on our stories through time. A lot of what we do is passed on through oral traditions, through our stories, and a lot through song. And one of the things I'm going to first spend a lot of time talking about is us as Haudenosaunee and our traditional teachings and our connection to the natural world. But I also have a lot of experience through my professional capacity, as well as just kind of the things that I do to bring me joy for helping the earth and meeting with other indigenous people. But one of the things that I've found, it's a commonality between indigenous people all around the world, is that we have a respect for other people's culture, traditions, and beliefs, and really love to see people play, carry on, and embrace culture sharing. And so I love to be able to come here tonight and participate in your service and be here with you and learn about your culture and tradition. And with our creation story, we have a creation story that is centered on, and she lands on Turtle's back, and that's really where all of our creation story comes from. It's gonna take some time to go through the creation story, so I'm not gonna go through that. But really, the embodiment of the creation story is what teaches us how to, what does it teach us how to live with? What feelings and how are we supposed to be?
Empathetic, love, gratitude.
Yeah. And so we're centered on gratitude. We are centered on being empathetic to not only ourselves, but other people. And so I'm going to talk about a lot of our traditional teachings. So many of you, I'm sure, have heard of the Haudenosaunee, right? Who's in our backyard that we have here. Yep. Yes. Oneida. Onondaga. Cayuga. And here we are, the Mohawk. So a lot of what people hear about us as Haudenosaunee people are about the coming together of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. And that actually is dated at approximately around 900 AD. And the history of our people actually is well before that time, us as like individuals. It was us coming together as a confederacy where we were acknowledging that we were sharing all of this land together. And how are we supposed to share this land together? And how are we supposed to be with each other and with the natural world? So that's about 900 AD, and we've estimated that account based on how many Tadadahos that we have had. Those are the ones that are like the primary holder within, well, it's a certain seat and a certain position that we have. And so one of the things that I'm really enjoying here is like the integration of like English and Hebrew in your service. Us, I'm sure as you know, there's a difficulty in translating the traditional language that you bring to the table into English. And so a lot of what people hear and learn about it is us trying to like express and coming together of our confederacy. When that happened, creation story, and our Haudenosaunee traditional teachings. That's what I bring to the table as an Indigenous scholar. I've learned much about, and a friend and a relative of other people, I've learned much about other people, but I'm going to really focus in on us as Haudenosaunee. And everybody has their origin story, everybody has their creation story, and it's great that we respect that, where everybody has and what their connection is to the place that they are at. And so here in Western New York, in the lower Great Lakes, the place where we're at is the home of the Haudenosaunee. We are Ongwehoe, the original people to this land, to this area. And through our time, we have been like given original instructions. When we learn about the Haudenosaunee Confederacy and all of our nations coming together, and basically what that is we're all agreeing to come under this great peace. They call it the Great Law of Peace, but really what it is that we're all coming together under the great peace, that we're all acknowledging that we are on this earth together and that we're going to work in a way for the wellness of us all. So we have original teachings that actually predate all of that. The center points for some people, I love to hear that so many of you know the different nations of the Haudenosaunee. That is fabulous. Somebody even said it in Tuscarora, which is just even more amazing. So as a professor at University at Buffalo, on a side note, when I ask a lot of the students, some are really not familiar, with whose land they're sitting upon. So I love to see that knowledge here. So the Great Law of Peace really is respect, responsibility, and reciprocity. It's where we have a peace, a power, and a righteousness throughout our people. And this peace is what I'm talking about earlier, this peace of being an inner peace of ourselves, that we all hold an inner peace. And then the peace and the power, the power doesn't really translate good in English. Power is not what you think about when you think about the word in English. When we mean power, we actually mean community, that we find power in each other. So it starts with the individual, and the farther that I grow out in my community, the greater that we have, the greater strength, and the greater power is what we have. And a lot of that can be seen for those of you that know a little bit of our history and background, the bundling of the 5 arrows, and showing that you can't break those when you come together. And then the righteousness is not necessarily what you would think when you think of that word either. The righteousness is more about living in a good way and being in a good way, and the way that you approach each other with empathy and with understanding. And so when we approach that as people, you know, those are what we have as our original instructions, and that's what we're reminded of in the Great Law. But the part that really spoke out to me in the Great Law, that really made me like dive into that and learn as much about that as possible, is this environmental stewardship component. And you know that a lot of people tie to the Great Law, but as it turns out, that environmental stewardship actually goes back to our original teachings. You know, I started talking about our origin, our creation story, how our peoples came to be on Turtle Island, how it kind of set us as the best way to be, to live with empathy and love and gratitude. And that's how we're supposed to be. But as human beings, we all need lessons, and we all need guidance, and we all need reminders. And as Haudenosaunee, we have centuries upon centuries, over 1,000 years of guidance and reminders. We don't like try to say like, oh, we are so peaceful and we're so at one. No, we actually acknowledge that it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort to be in this way. Even just to live with a good mind and think in a good way is a daily effort, and it takes a lot of work. And so going back to our original instructions and this idea of like environmental stewardship, it's all about respect, responsibility, and reciprocity. And I've already heard him immediately mention about having a responsibility to the natural world. So I'm so glad to be here tonight amongst, you know, like-minded people, where we have this respect for the natural world, this understanding that if we take care of the land will take care of us. It's a reciprocal relationship. So when they look back in history and read about like the interaction of our people, learn about like the birth of this country and development through time, there's this concept that's thrown about terris and nullis. They think like, oh, well, there were some wild people running around this land. They had all this vast open areas that were really just wild. This idea of like taming the wild, where when you actually like start to look at the lands and the landscape, we were actually like augmenting our environment and augmenting our natural world, increasing like biodiversity. One of the biggest examples is the augmentation of buffalo grasslands throughout the Great Plains, through cultural fire burns and environmental techniques in like managing different environmental conditions. They were able to like expand the how far the buffalo went. They talk about like how the natives were just migrants and they just followed the buffalo, when that actually wasn't the case. They were augmenting the grasslands to bring the buffalo to them. We had lived on an economy. They think because, you know, we didn't have something that was based on a dollar or coins or some kind of monetary item, we had economies that were extremely active throughout the entire North America region. There was over 60 million indigenous people, you know, on this land in the 1400s. There were out on Long Island have quahog mussels. They're really beautiful shells that are they're white and purple, and those shells were traded with the Haudenosaunee, and those exact shells are what we used to create our wampum, to create our treaty belts. And our treaty belts and our agreements and our teachings are all moving through time. And an example local, bringing it back to us, is the propagation of nut trees. We have the American chestnut is one of the trees that was very dear to the Haudenosaunee, and other trees, other nut-producing species. I had no idea that we were like essentially like nut farmers, to bring it to like an understanding where we were like spreading around the propagation of these like different tree species. Not only were we doing that, we were trading them with the other indigenous people that were visiting us. So Buffalo, Western New York actually was this like mecca of like, it wasn't just one nation, it was a mecca of a trading center. It was a village that was like robust with like people and life, where everybody was like exchanging culture, exchanging goods, and like working and living. When they had come, they seen the Haudenosaunee going around and talking to people well beyond the lands of the lower Great Lakes. And what they were doing is they were getting into agreements with other people on this dish with spoon. Dish with one spoon there's a couple different like ways that people talk about it. It was done with the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee and the Huron. When we're not just looking at like the backyard of the Haudenosaunee, but we're also looking at the Great Lakes themselves, and understanding that we have very limited resources and the Great Lakes system. Okay, relax and stay here, okay? So we have a very limited resources, but if we take care of that and are mindful of the way that we do things, then that is only going to propagate. So we have, just to bring it to the current day, one of the, there's different talk, I'm sure you guys have heard of like the 7 generations. And a lot of that, they say, well, you have to think 7 generations in the future. And there's a lot of people that have, there's a lot of people that have, not just the Haudenosaunee that have talked about that, but the way that I like to think about 7 generations is we're looking at 3 generations behind us. We're looking at ourselves, and we're looking at also 3 generations ahead. So we're carrying on the knowledge of our ancestors and our teachings and our ways, and then we're bringing that to the present day. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna like think forward and understand the actions that we do today are going to impact like things in the future.
Mommy.
1 second, okay? We got 3 more minutes and we are gonna have to wrap it up. So, one of the things that we are really like taught to focus on is like looking at things from the very smallest level. So the Seneca Nation has a fish hatchery. And the fish hatchery in the Cattaraugus territory is actually like focused on the brook trout. This little guy has spots on him. It's not even a fish that you can eat. And it has spots on it. And they say the spots are where the creator held the fish. And he held the fish up and he looked how beautiful as it was. And so it's up to us to take care of that little tiny fish. That little tiny fish isn't gonna provide us any food. It's not gonna actually directly benefit us. But as we concentrate on that littlest fish and the importance that it has, that's only gonna propagate up the food chain and only gonna help us. And as I like studied in Indigenous studies and have learned more about just not Haudenosaunee, but about people all over the United States, all over the world, one thing that the Indigenous people all have in common is the relationship there forward. And when we like think about like when we're farming and we're growing, when we do things, is we have like another commonality that's across people is they kind of have these areas where they do leave just open and wild. And it's kind of like just a living seed bank. And so it's because of revolution and technology, it's because there are still people there that have been working on still maintaining our culture and our traditions and our customs to be able to work with the land and to think about the land as our relative. So that's what I want to close with. is that when we think about the land and we say like, oh, that's my brother or that's my sister, you know, they're like, oh, those natives think like they're related to all these animals. What we really like, that's another language barrier. It's that we can't convey what we're trying to say about our plant relatives, about our four-legged relatives. And what we're trying to say about them is that they deserve just as much respect as I would give to my brother. That plant, that tree, that deer deserves just as much love and consideration and respect as I do. So it is up to us to protect that. And it's not just up to us as Indigenous people, it's up to everybody. So I'm really excited that you guys are doing this and doing the series and celebrating Earth Day, and grateful for you having us here and letting my kids run around and be crazy. Yeah. An older one.
Well, Dr. Seneca, I want to thank you. We tend to give kind of jazz hands to thank. There's a lot of wisdom. I actually took some notes because there's so many connections. I'm sure you heard too. Your sense of peace, the way that Dr. Seneca was describing peace, that's how we talk about shalom. Righteousness you talked about, tzedek, tzedakah, that's very similar to our component. 7 generations, 7, of course, a very important Jewish number. And I think overall, what you were describing in terms of language barrier, you know, we're a people that has been living with displacement for many, many years. So there's a lot in the story of your story that really echoes with me. So thank you. And Ruby, thanks for sharing your wisdom too. So wonderful for you to be able to model with your mom there and to become a new storyteller for a new generation. I think that is pretty cool. We are going to turn, and thank you, Joe, as well, for your wonderful introduction. We're going to turn to our healing prayers, and I want to first say, Andy, it is so good to have you back. Yeah. Andy had some hip surgery. Yeah. And look at you, you're like a young man again, wandering around. I love it. Our healing prayer is on page 371. I'm going to read our list of names. If you have other names you'd like to offer, please just raise your hand and we'll go around the community. As a community, we are thinking about Gail Ackerholt, Neil Agnita, Paula Ames, Hope Bongiorno, Samuel Block, Sandy Canty, Sheldon Cohen, Evan Dennis, Chris Donner, Tina Ferruto, Lauren Goldhirsch, Mira Grosser, Adrian Graber, Ernie and Carolyn Grosser, Nancy Hersbrunn, Pam Huber, Jonah Alexander Hyman, that's a young baby who was born 23 weeks, Kenny Jackson, Alex Katz, Granger, Hugh Kelly, Marilyn, Tony and Maddie Rinsberg, Mark Nightinger, Renata Lefcourt, Gail Lewis, Ellen McLeod, Rick Mahler, Candace Mai, Pamela Nigut, Bill Ostroff, Stuart Peck, Jeff Pratt, Tamara Rattino, Stephen Rice, Tony Romano, Sarah Korn Rothschild, Brandon Ryan, Danette Sang, Ernie Sapatelli, Remy Schoenwetter, Eric Smith, Andrew Sutherland, Tracy Thale, Enjo Tufts, Jen Ursaner, Marla Vagarosi, Judy Van Horn, Celeste Zacharies, Gail Zaretsky, Carla Batchana, Yosef Ben Zissel, Chana Ezra Ben Shul, Eileen Silas, Sabrina Chaya Bat Sapora, and Risha Bat Sapora. If there's other names, just raise your hand.
Faith Dwyer, Heather Houston, Judy Houston. Pauline Rogers.
Bela Vega, Barry Bell, just a kiss on you.
Cindy Rothman.
Larry Olinsky.
Anita Klinger.
We'll bring all those names into our hearts on page 371 as we sing the Misha Berach.
מקור הברכה, ואימותינו. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, There's those in need of healing with refresh in their mind, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Complete healing of body and soul. May our prayers go out to where they're needed, and may we be comforted by them. We turn to page 586. I invite you to rise for Aleinu. As we say, it's not enough just to pray. We need to go out and do good things in this world.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם בגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 591.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, היום ההוא, היום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
You may be seated. We turn to our Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. This week we said goodbye to several of our members, Dr. Elias Kaufman, who loved the banjo. What a cool guy he was. Eva Rubenstein, a lot of you know her. She's at peace, thankfully. And Marilyn Elkin Leeds, that's one of Jay's cousins. On our Shloshim list from the past month, we are remembering Wilma Iggers, Arlene Guttenberg, Suzanne Lefcourt, and Michelle Polanski. On our yard site list from years past, we remember Izzy Barasco, Albert L. Cohen, Edith Crandall, Gary Friedferdig, Sanford Galerter, Sarah Gelman, Aaron Goldberg, Lillian Golden, Jenny Gorbatai, Richard Sanford Horwitz, Dr. Joseph House, Hella Kaminsky, Harry Karch, Mary Klein Katz, Fanny Kranitz, Ralph Kushner, Ruth Lansing, Dr. Alfred Liederman, Vega and Borach Lipsitz, Samuel Mackler, Tilly Malinikoff, Frank Moscow, Maurice Oskowitz, Sidney L. Oskowitz, Karen Rank, Edward Reese, Joyce Rubin, Rose Rubin, Samuel Sherman, Carl Schupert, Rosalind Stringer, Harry Tubin, and Sanford Weinstein. If you have other names you'd like to say, just raise your hand. All those whose custom it is to rise, again, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach uretei v'yamlik malchutei, v'chayachon v'yamachon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'izman kariv yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah v'orach v'olam olmeo maya, yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony and high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world, and we say amen. You may be seated. Zikronam livracha, may their memories always be for a blessing. I'd like to bring up Bruce again to offer our announcements.
Shabbat Shalom again, everyone. Hope you enjoyed our Erev Shabbat service. Thank you, Dr. Shannon Seneca, for giving us such an informative talk this evening. Thank you to Joe Morris for organizing our Earth Month speaker series. Earth Month is off to a really interesting start, and we have 2 more Friday night services to go, so we'll have speakers for them as well. And then we'll culminate the month with our Earth Day event, which is on Sunday, April 27th. That's co-sponsored by Temple Beth Tzedek and Temple Beth Zion. We're going to have environmental and community organizations here. We're going to have kids and adult activities. We're also going to have a non-denominational service. We can still use some volunteers to help out. Talk to Joe after the service this evening. If you'd like to get your name on the list for that, we appreciate your help. Thank you to our service greeters tonight, Diane Gordon and Sherry Jo Reich. We appreciate your help. And of course, thank you to Rabbi Alex Cantor Frank and Sean Poland for a wonderful service this evening in honor of Shabbat as we look forward to Passover and Earth Month. And thank you for bringing back the organ, for what brought back memories, for hearing the organ on a Friday night. Brought back a lot of memories. Tomorrow morning, Torah study is at 9 a.m. It is at Temple Beth Tzedek. It is also via their Zoom. The Shabbat morning service and Kiddush luncheon is at 10:45, also at Temple Beth Tzedek. There is no community religious school Sunday or the following Sunday due to the Passover holiday, and all the religious school students are on spring break. They're going down to Cancun and having a wonderful time. But it will resume on Sunday, April 27th, just in time for our Earth Day event. Thank you to everyone who made a reservation for our second night Seder, which will be Sunday night. It will be nice to have so many people together. If you didn't poke your eyes in on the sanctuary, on the social hall, take a look. The room is set up. It's lovely. It's going to be a nice crowd. And of course, the rabbi and Cantor will be leading the Seder. It's going to be a nice evening. Our Buffalo Corner reading series returns this Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. It is Mystery Month with a special guest, Gary Earl Ross. Thank you to Ganilla Kester for leading the series. Speaking of mysteries, Murder Mystery Dinner Theater coming up on Saturday, April 26th, performed by Western New York Improv. We're going to have a dinner, we're going to have drinks, we're going to have dessert. Someone's going to be murdered. They tell me it's me. I'm not so sure about that. But I guess some people don't like my jokes, so I could be the victim. You never know. But anyway, that'll be fun. And that will be on Saturday, April.
Wait a minute. If they know it's going to be you, it's no longer a murder mystery. You can't.
But the question is how? How did it happen? And who done it? There's still lots of mysteries to solve.
Lots of mysteries. Okay.
There we go. There's lots to solve. Anyway, seriously, it should be a lot of fun. If you've never been to a murder mystery night, it really is a lot of fun. And that will be on a Roaring Twenties theme. Saturday, April 19th, that is a week from tomorrow, we will be having our Passover Yizkor service. That's at 10:30 in the morning. There will be, of course, Yizkor memorial prayers on the last day of Passover, and a complimentary luncheon will follow. The Julia Corner way, she gives me grief. Temple attorney pointed out that if I annoy and she waves her arms, our insurance does not cover if you get your eyes poked out by Julia. So I will try not to get Julia upset. The Tikkun Olam team is collecting for Reinstein Woods this month. They need tall white crew socks for children ages 5 to 13 and washable markers. Second, Julia is heading this up. This is to make jobs for people who can sew. There's jobs for people who can't. And again, they'll be getting together at the temple on April 22nd at 6:30. There's also a Capote project. That's it for you at the moment. You cut it way down this week. That's great. Thank you to everyone who either volunteered or supported our Shabbatas, first one of the year. The weather was not great. I was a Brucicle in the parking lot, but we had a nice turnout, and that's an important fundraiser for us, and it's the beginning of the year. So we have many more Shabbatas to come. Next one is April 29th. Yeah, we don't need to know that. Brick and mortar, no one goes to a brick and mortar Shabbatas. But anyway, we'll be back on April 29th for our next one. Voting is underway, of course, for the World Zionist Congress. It started March 10th. It goes till May 4th. Remember, it's very, very important. Karen and Howard have been honchoing our effort here at Temple. There are ballots outside and flyers. So please, it's only $5 to vote, and you get your voice in. I'd like to just point out Tom Lansing is with us this evening. You may have heard his mom's name on the Yortzeit list. Tom is our new head of our Life and Legacy Committee, and if anyone is interested in learning more about that, please chat with him at the ONIG. Craig Small is our past chairman, and Craig is now president of the board of the Foundation for Jewish Philanthropies, which is sponsoring tonight's ONIG. Irv Levy is also here tonight. He's the executive director. Thank you to them for sponsoring tonight's ONIG, which is down in the open area at the end of the hall, because of course the social hall is all set up for the second night Seder. Thank you to you guys for sponsoring tonight's ONIG. We appreciate that. So if you'd like to know more about Life and Legacy, talk to Tom after the service. Thank you as always for being part of our wonderful Shir Shalom family. Happy Passover and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Bruce, no one, there was no booing or anything. They've, I think your jokes were working tonight. Yeah.
Well, they actually didn't try to kill you.
So, Cantor,
Like them, right?
I saw we had Rich, our maintenance person, poking his head in. If you see him, it is his birthday today.
Oh.
So please wish him a happy birthday.
Joanne, are we on streaming? Oh, nice.
We are moving to our most famous song, Dayenu.
Yeah, I figure we'll get ready for our Seders tomorrow and here on Sunday. Dayenu, and believe it or not, it's not in our Siddur, our prayer book, but all you need to know is one word, Dayenu, which means enough, right? It would have been enough if we were just, taken out of Egypt. Dayenu, right? Everybody say that with me. Dayenu, Dayenu. It would have been enough if we were just given the Torah, but Dayenu, Dayenu. And it would have been enough if we were just gifted Shabbat, right? The Sabbath. And we say Dayenu. So that's the only word you need on this. So we can just close it up. And here we go. Crank it up, Sean.
peace. May you leave in peace. And please return your prayer books minus your leaflet to the front and enjoy our oneg. Shabbat shalom. Remember, it's down the hall. It's down the hall. This is kind of the stories from our tradition. And these are scrolls that we've been doing for hundreds, thousands of years.
That's a lot, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of writing. So I'm actually, and this is all, we're going to roll it. This is how they used to do things a long time ago.
Oh, this is like the way to Persian books.
So we're going through the different books, and I have to. So people, a scribe will come and write it over the course of the year. We're going to get to a very special poem.
Yeah, for the Seder. Well, this is it. I'm going to do that in a minute. I want to set up the microphones in the next room. But I'm
Thank
going
you
to
for
set
coming.
it. I'm going to put it on bingo.
canto, the middle Torah here, it's ready for. This one is
What is it? Okay.
the
oh,
Song
all
of the
right.
Sea.
Oh, all right then. Song of the Sea?
Yes. That's what's for the seventh day. Seventh day Shabbat.
You said 15?
15. Exodus 15.
Okay.
When I looked,
Let's confirm with Harvey. He was a little bit concerned that there was a lot.
oh, he doesn't have to do the whole
Yeah, I
thing.
said just pick 3 sentences.
Yeah, he can do the primary ones. But yeah, if you look.
Yeah, why don't you speak to him today?
Yeah, I will talk to
Because
him.
he was like, oh, that's a lot, you know, and I'm saying, just pick 3. I didn't realize it was Song of the Sea.
If I go down here, holiday. Where's holiday?